Thank you for being with us. This is the Success and Money Live class. And in the next section, I'm going to bring on a friend of mine, Mr. Nathan Osman. But before I do that, I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate you for making a difference in people's lives. You know, the Success and Money Foundation is your foundation. This foundation was created and designed to help people all over the world. And today, it's kind of an interesting day that just popped up onto my calendar, but my father passed away 6 years ago today. And one of the things that my dad taught me is he taught me about success and money principles. I'm one of 10 children. There's 7 of us boys. I was number 7. My grandpa would just start at the very top and go through all the names before he hit us. And so we just started giving ourselves numbers. That was easier. But, you know, my father was was the closest thing that I could say is a self-made man. You know, he started with nothing. My mom and he started with nothing, and they were able to make a life for themselves and for their family members. You know, in 1930, my mom and dad were both born. Right before that, the credit crunch and the Great Depression started, and Hitler came into power in about 28, 29. But before that, you know, things were roaring, things were going well. And my mom and dad were both born in 1930. My dad is 4 days older than Warren Buffett. And so I had my own small Warren Buffett, if you will, that was able to teach us kids about success and money principles. Now, both my mom and dad grew up without 2 nickels to rub together. They started with nothing. They fell in love. They got married at an early age. They started having children. And my dad started working with my grandfather in fixing up old cars. And they would go find all these old cars in the fields and barns and stuff like that. And they would literally tow them back to the service station and start fixing them up. And then they would resell them. Later, they were able to get a franchise with Chrysler, and they were able to start selling cars. So I grew up in the car business, which is a tough business. The margins are very tight. It's very hard to do, but I learned a lot of things from my dad, and kind of in his honor today, I want you to know that this foundation would not have started without my dad. My dad was the one that taught us the things. He had systems that he taught us. We did things. I look back and I connect the dots on a lot of the things that I've done over the years and the businesses I've ran and the real estate we've bought and all those things. And it all goes back to little techniques and strategies that my dad taught me, but he didn't just teach me, we did it together. And I remember specifically one time that I was helping him paint this little house that was next door to us. Now, I grew up in a little town of Nephi where there's only 3,000 people in central Utah. There was only like 80 kids in my graduating class. But when I was a teenager, there was a little house that my dad had bought that was next door to our house. And that little house was kind of run down. It was older. And we were out there scraping off the old paint so we could repaint it. And it was hot and I wasn't having any fun. And I says, Dad, am I getting paid to do this? And he goes, no, son, get back to work. You know, he's very kind about it. But, you know, and he could see that wasn't quite the answer that I was looking for. So I said again, Dad, are you sure that I can't get paid for doing all this work? And he said, you know what, son? You know, we bought this house so that we could have extra money to help put you kids through college. Now, as a teenager, I really didn't care that much about college. And he could see that was not the answer I was looking for. And, you know, and then he told me something. He says, you know, son, did you know that some people make so much money off of their real estate, their investments, their businesses, that they don't have a job? All they do is manage those things. And that just was like a light bulb. Really? You know, because I had been working down at the dealership, you know, sweeping up, cleaning the bathrooms and stuff like that. I worked as a dishwasher at a truck stop. That's how I got started. And one of the first checks I ever made doing dishes, literally at a truck stop, I didn't have a checking account. We actually put it in with the little account that my dad had where we would loan money to people to buy cars. And at the time, interest rates were really high. And there's a lot of people that needed to be able to get a car, but they didn't have the finances to do it or couldn't qualify, but they were good people. And so I started loaning money to my dad to this little account, and he paid us the interest. And I was making 12% on my money as a teenager. Now, what's so amazing about that is that my dad taught me a lot of lessons, but one lesson that he taught me specifically was, he said, son, if you sell someone a car, sell them a good car, sell them a car that's going to run, sell them a car that doesn't break down. And you know what? They'll pay you. If you loan them money to be able to buy the car, they'll pay you. If you sell them junk, they won't. So don't sell junk. Make sure that it works for them. And that was very, very important for my dad. I remember times that my dad, saw somebody that was driving a car that had bad tires, and he would give them a little card and send them down to the Tyler dealership, and they would just put new tires on the car for people because he was worried about them. But sorry, I wasn't playing. This is what the foundation was created. And my dad, this would not be here if it wasn't for my dad, because he taught me these things. And my mom and dad were very giving, and they were very compassionate, and they were very loving, and they wanted the best for their kids and their grandkids. And they did some interesting things. In 1984, they had 12 grandchildren, and they started an account. They started sub accounts for all the grandkids, and they started putting money into those accounts and for investment. Now, we always talk about growing your own money tree and which is planting a money seed and then watering it and then taking care of it and growing it. Well, they did it. They had 12 grandkids, and they created all these sub accounts for these grandkids. They put in money in there. They took care of these little investments that they did. They watered them. They put more money into them, and they took care of them. And then when the grandkids got to be 21 years of age, they could either leave the money in there, or they could take the money out for real estate or a small business or something else. And then the tree basically now was your responsibility. And the amazing thing is that when my mom and dad both passed away, my dad passed away 6 years ago. He was 86 years of age when he passed away. My mom passed away a few years ago, but they had 70 great grand and great grandchildren, and every one of them had one of these investment accounts. And when they get older, they get to take that money. So all of my kids have these investment accounts. My mom and dad could have taken that money and spent it. My mom sacrificed, my dad sacrificed, so that their kids could have a better life, and their grandkids could have a better life, because it was tough growing up during the Depression. And that's why we're doing the stuff we do at the foundation. It's not easy, doing the things that we're going to ask you to do. It's not easy opening up an investment account. It's not easy funding it and worrying if you're going to lose money. But the reason that we get you to do that is because it changes your life. It changes how you think. Now you're an investor. You think differently, just like my dad got me thinking differently as a teenager. Real estate. Not only did he teach me about the real estate next door, but we had this one property, and he split it in half. It was a pretty good sized property, split it in half. He gave one half to my brother to put a small house on, and then he took the other one and sold it to someone, and they made monthly payments to him. And those are the monthly payments that helped put me on my Christian mission to Toronto, Canada. So I was learning these things from my dad. And, the amazing thing is I look back on my career and just the strategies that he taught me by doing it, not just talking about it, but we did it. We were buying stocks as a teenager. I remember vividly laying on the floor looking at the newspaper, and he and I would go through the stocks and stuff like that. And we were buying stocks. I was engaged. I was an owner. I thought differently. And so he's made a huge difference. And so as I look back, Steve Jobs says you can't connect the dots going forward. You have to connect them going backwards. So if you connect the dots backwards, you can see the strategies that you're using here that someone taught you in the past. That's why the Success Money Foundation was created. And techniques that my dad taught me in business, I used. And, as in our businesses, I've done millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate, millions and millions of dollars worth of stock, millions of dollars of businesses. My businesses that I've controlled, owned, was a partner in, some with Robert Allen, who was a neighbor of our next guest. We've done over $400-500 million in revenue. So the things we're teaching you, the things that we're bringing to you with all of our guests is, this is not academic. We're not making this stuff up. We lived it. We lived it. And the strategies that I've learned in the past were ones that I used to do hundreds of millions of dollars worth of sales. We just added zeros. We say that if you want to be successful, find out what successful people are doing, and then simply follow and do what they do. Now, some of the very successful people, all they do is add zeros. They add more and more zeros. And if you're going to make a cake and your grandma told you how to make it and she gave you the recipe and you followed up step by step, you could make the same cake. Now, she's probably not going to tell you everything, but she's going to tell you most of it because she wants to be special with that kind of stuff. It's the same way with you. To be successful, you have to follow a recipe. You have to follow a strategy. You have to continue to learn. And I'm still learning. I still go through classes. I still go through classes myself. Now I'm retired. I got all the money, and I put all my investments on automatic pilot so that I have all kinds of investing groups that I invest with, because now I can spend my time working in the foundation. And this foundation is dedicated to my mom and dad. So the money that you are receiving for your investment accounts are all coming from the Jim and Zoma Painter Scholarship Fund. Now, how did we fund this foundation? How did we get the money in the foundation? It was real estate. I started buying real estate in 1983 with my girlfriend, who became my wife, and we would buy houses and fix them up, and fourplexes and things like that. Well, the first fourplex I ever bought in 1984 is one of the buildings that we donated to the foundation. We donated 3 4-unit buildings and a house, and Berkshire Hathaway stock, the Warren Buffett stock. I've got 3 of his autographs. So the things we're teaching you is stuff that we do. That's how it was founded and funded. I started doing all this stuff because I had a heart attack when I was 34 years of age. And as they were wheeling me into the operating room, I looked over at my wife and wondered if I was coming back. And if I didn't come back, who's going to take care of my special needs children? I had to find a way to take care of myself better. And more importantly, I had to find ways to create systems to be able to take care of my special needs children, because I don't think the government's going to do a very good job with that. And I don't want my kids have to compete with other kids that have those issues. And we did so much investing and stuff like that, that later on we were able to take a lot of that and put that into the foundation. So today, I just want to tip my hat to my dad. I want to acknowledge him, especially today. It was 6 years ago that he passed away. And both my mom and he taught us the things, how to be compassionate capitalists. And that's what we're trying to teach you. And I know it's hard. It's hard buying that little house and fixing it up and flipping it. I know it is. The very first house I bought, I fixed it up, and my financing didn't go through. I was told it was all good, and then it didn't go through, and I ended up giving the house back to the seller. I fixed up his house for free. But for some crazy reason, I still had the belief that it would work because of the things my dad taught me and the things that Robert Allen taught me. And so the next property I bought, the second or third, was that little fourplex that we ended up using for the foundation years later. It's okay to fail. You're going to fail. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. You need to fail more. You need to fail more, because every time you fail, that's another no, because you've got to get like 20 or 30 no's before you get a yes. So just be known. Hey, that's a no. Good. And it's not personal. It's not personal. It's just not appropriate for that person you're talking to. You're going to do real estate. All of you have to have a place to live. You're going to do investments. Your investments are going to go up and down. Roller coaster versus the merry-go-round, which we've talked about. And it's not easy to do, but you're going to set these up for your kids because their brain changes. Now they become an investor. They think differently. You've got to start thinking differently. You're going to start small businesses, and we're going to teach you how to get those businesses to multiply and grow. Now, remember, there's 5 steps. Number 1, you have to learn how to make more money. The way you make more money is by solving bigger problems, adding more value, and studying successful people. Do what they do. Number 2, you got to separate it. You're going to create all kinds of systems. I have all kinds of systems that we use that now control and run all of our money because I set them up. And if you can't control a small amount in your own home, how are you going to control all these monies through your businesses? Number 3, you got to give it away. You got to give it away. My dad and mom taught me about charitable giving. Robert Allen was very influential in teaching about that. You got to give it away. You got to give the secrets away. You got to give the strategies away. You got to give the money away, and you got to help them. So today we're going to be announcing the Make a Difference program, which we have done in the past, but Christmas is around the corner, and we're going to be able to send money out to you, and we're going to buy, but you got to fly. That means that you've got to go find the people that need the help, take that little bit of money and go help them. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more just a bit later as we get it finished up. But that's kicking off right now because we need to make a huge dent with people to help those people in need. Number 4, you got to automatically invest. That's the key. If I could only teach you one thing, if you could only teach one thing to your family, and you could not, and that's the only thing. Automatically invest, automatically invest. And I know it's hard and I know it's scary, but that's the way you do it. And then number 5 is to save and spend. Now, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to have generational wealth, you have to do the wealth formula. You have to do this on a weekly, monthly basis. Every time you make money, you need to put it away into your long-term investing program. Times time. You don't do this overnight. We're building a foundation. We want that foundation to be solid. We want to go down to bedrock, and then we want to build the foundation around that and then build the house on top of it. It takes time, and then have it go up in value. Why do we invest in the stock market? Because it beats inflation. Why do we start small businesses with our multiple streams and side hustle? Because you need extra streams of income. You need extra money. Inflation is killing you. As stuff gets more inflated around the world, it's harder and harder for you to be able to keep up. And so you have to change that. You've got to make more money. And you need to have a small business so you can have some tax write-offs because the government's coming after your money. That's the reason you do the side hustles. And many of those side hustles, we've taken that money, we've dumped it right down into the wealth formula. And so now there's all this money that's there that makes us more and more money. That's the key. Now, today, I just want to announce a couple great things. Today is Thursday, and we're going to be putting a link in right after our class today because as part of the foundation, our purpose is very simple. Our purpose is to provide free Success and Money classes for anyone, anywhere. Now, we have a platform, but you're the ones that are doing it. This isn't my foundation. This is your foundation. Just that my dad and I and my mom were very instrumental in getting it put up and created, but this is your foundation. We're not teaching it. We're just creating a platform. You guys are the ones that are teaching it. They don't have to go to our class to learn. You can pull out an envelope and teach somebody these 5 steps. You can do that in an elevator. You can start doing that and making it very simple. Mission number 1, of course, is to provide financial rewards for students when they go through classes and share the wealth. What's the wealth? The wealth is the information. When you get this money from us, and we've gone over 15,000 transactions. I want to thank my team for doing that because that's just amazing moving that much kind of money. They're small. These are money seeds. I'm not giving you a money tree. I'm giving you a money seed. And then we're giving you money. We're going to give you some money water to help it grow. You can reach into your own pocket though and pull out some money and plant that seed. You don't need my money. Any money will do. You don't need my seed, but that's how you get started. Mission number 2 is that we provide donations and a platform for groups, schools, churches, charities, groups, and teams. So you can do this together and have fun and be competitive. So all the high schools around the world can compete with each other. Inside the high school, the grades can compete with each other. Inside the grades, all the students compete with each other, who compete with everybody around the world at the same time. Churches can do that. Congregations can do that. Colleges can do that. Your companies can do that. Anybody can do that. And we want to do that so that it's fun. Now, when you get a membership, you can come in and, of course, do it as an individual. But if you have a group, we'll set a group up for you. And the third one is to help those in need. Now, who are the people in need? Me. I am. You are. We're all in need. We all need this information. Why do you go to church every week? Not because you're perfect. It's because we're imperfect. We're all screwed up. All of us. And we need that shot in the arm every week. We need it every day. You need to work on your body. You need to work on your brain. You need to work on your soul. Your body, brain, being, time, people, and money are the 6 things you got to work on. And you got to do that every day. We need to help those in need. For every hour you're in class, we're going to donate a pair of eyeglasses. Why eyeglasses? Because if there's only one thing that I could help someone with to make them more effective. If they lost their sight, if they just can't see, they're just in trouble. I take these off and I'm in trouble. So we do eyeglasses, and we've done thousands and thousands and thousands of those. We do meals, and we do clean water. That's what the foundation was created for. That's what we do. This is not my foundation. This foundation is dedicated to my parents, because without them, this would have never started. They're the ones that set the tone. They're the ones that drop that pebble into the water that has rippled, not through our family, but through generations. That never would have happened if my dad would have not taught me those things. Would have never happened if he wouldn't have taken me by the hand and put a paintbrush in my hand and said, let's go paint. But it never happened. There's a story that my good friend Clint Larson talks about that's just so appropriate for my family. They had a big family like us, and they were raising tomatoes and selling them. And one of the kids went through and looked at the cost and says, he figured out how much it cost for the seed, how much for the water, and for the labor, and for the land costs and stuff like that, and what they got out of it for raising and selling tomatoes. And he went to his dad and says, Dad, this does not make financial sense. It doesn't make sense for us to raise these tomatoes and sell them. And his dad looked at him and says, son, I'm not raising tomatoes. I'm raising a family. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. My good friend Robert Allen says, good parents give their kids good memories. Bad parents give their kids bad memories. Your job is to give your kids good memories and to teach them how to drive the car. Don't let them give them the keys to the Ferrari when you pass away. Give them the keys to the dang Volkswagen and go teach them how to drive. That's why you're here. So today is a special day. It's dedicated to my parents, who were so instrumental in making all this work. Without them, it never would have happened. The ripple effects. And what's so amazing is that when you go to the leaderboards, Kyson, can you pull up the leaderboards and let's look at the referral board? The one thing that you don't really understand how big of an impact you're making. So let's go to the referral boards. And so every time that you share your link with someone, and everybody has a free link, it's right under when you log in, up in there, of course, it says, hi, Kyson. And then you just pull it down. It says, there's your referral link. That's your free referral link. Remember, we're a charity. We're a foundation. We're not selling stuff. We're just trying to help you. But you simply look at that and you can see that Carlisle and Johnson and Daryl, look at all the referrals that they've done. But more importantly, look at the hours that they've done. Carlisle's little group has done 2,400 hours. That these are people that they've enrolled. Johnson, who's on here, and Daryl, their spouses worked with them. Look at the 1,500 hours that they've done. And so let's look at the last 7 days, because if you're on the 7-day board, we're going to send you out a financial reward. Now, remember, you got to put it in your investment account, but you can see all the hours that the people that they have given this link to that have gone through class. Can you imagine going to a university, which all of us do, and spend a whole semester learning stupid stuff, which is what you're probably learning? You're learning stuff that doesn't do you good. We've got students that have been in class for 250 hours. They're going to college at the Success and Money University right here. Now you can see me, I'm the top referrer right there. I did all of this with my phone. I didn't do any of it on social media. So let's go back to the top referral number, and you can see that I'm just getting started. This last week, I referred 10 people, and I literally pulled out my phone, I copied my unique referral link, copied it, texted it to someone, had them open it up right there on the spot and click on it, and got a free membership, and then click on it and say, this is how you watch the classes, and show them a couple of classes. Now, I've got to start getting these people to go to more classes. So it's important that you sign people up. I planted a lot of seeds, but the referral hours is what's so important. Now, if you're on this board, you are going to get a job form that you can fill out, because we're going to send you a financial reward just for sharing the wealth. Okay. I'm going to give the money away anyway. We put $3 million into the foundation, and this is how we're giving it back. Okay. And we're giving it back for you to do things to make a difference in your life and to the life of those people that you love. Let's go to the influencer board just for 1 second, Kyson, and then we're going to introduce our next guest. So this is the really cool thing right here is the influencer board. So here are the people that you influenced, but more importantly, how many people did they influence? Okay, so you look at Johnson and his wife, Amedi, right there, they did 128 people, but those people signed up another 192 that have been on for 3,700 hours. He's responsible with his wife for over 5,000 hours of our students going to class. How do you change somebody's world? Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You give him a fishing pole, you can feed him for a lifetime. But if you teach him how to teach, you can change a whole generation of people. That's what we're doing, is we're changing a whole generation of people. And just the simple act by Carlisle and Johnson and every one of you, you can see the total hours that your people have gone to class. This is influencing for good. You know, we could give people money. You know, what would you rather have? You can only give one thing to somebody you love: money, knowledge, or experience. You got to give them one of those three. What are you going to give them? Well, what do? We just give them money because it's easier and we don't want to talk to them about it. Okay, that doesn't work. We give them some knowledge, but not very good knowledge because they're our kid. We're not going to tell your family anything different than you would. They just need to hear it from another source. And then the last one, of course, is experience. We're going to have you experience it and do it. And you're going to fail and you're going to succeed. And that's the only way that it's going to change your life. So today, we're ready to get into our next segments here. But I wanted to acknowledge my dad, and I wanted to acknowledge my parents for the hand that they've had in making such a huge difference and the ripple effect. They don't have any idea. My dad has no idea that putting a paintbrush in my hand and teaching me about things and doing it with me and pulling the trigger on things, the ripple effect that it's had through me, through our family, through all the businesses we've created and the event businesses and stuff like that, and all the stuff we're doing in the foundation. We just hit 100,000 hours. We're going to have 1 million hours on this thing, and it's going to be wonderful. So I want to thank you all. I want to express my gratitude to my parents, because without them, this would not be. The same is true for you. Your family is going to be on a pathway. And if you can help get them on a different pathway, you can change their life. This is Tom Painter. Thank you so much for being with us. This is the successmoneyfoundation.org. Make a difference, make it happen. And remember that every life is precious. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to be bringing on Nathan Osmond next. See you in a second.